only on point difference. Down at the bottom, poor old Hulkingston Rovers made no ground despite... But Hull, led by Steve McNamara, although they're next to bottom with 1 win and a draw from their matches so far, they come into this game full of hope. They've had a couple of weeks break, whereas people like Barry McDermott for Wigan have been involved in the epic battle at Wembley last Saturday against the Australians for Great Britain. Can the Wigan players back up after that effort? Craig Murdoch playing in place of the suspended Shaun Edwards, 21-year-old, the Cumbrian. He's highly rated by Graham West and all at Wigan. And a chance, of course, now, because Shaun Edwards is suspended for 2 Wigan matches and next week's second test. Here's the whole team: Gary Nolan, Danby, Vicona, David, Sterling, Endicott and Smirk, Street, Richardson, McNamara the captain, Busby, Jackson and Cassidy. And on the bench it's Mark Hewitt and Gary Rose, signed this week from Leeds. The coach is Tony Gordon. Jez Cassidy, the loose forward, under 21 international. A hooker last season, but loose forward now is his favoured position, and he's in the number 13 jersey for Hull. The Wigan side: Aitchison, Robinson, Twiggamala, Connolly, Ofire, Paul and Murdoch. And the forwards: Cowie, Hall, McDermott, Dennis Betts, who's captaining the club tonight, Cassidy and Farrell. And the substitutes: Joe Lydon, the assistant coach, and Barry John Mather, making his first appearance after 3 months out injured with a reconstruction of his shoulder. Match referee is Graham Annesley from Australia, the man in charge of the first test and the second test at Old Trafford next Saturday, and he's got the earpiece. He is in communication with his touch judges and just testing it out. That's the microphone at the top of the flag, as we were told earlier on by Greg McCallum, the referee's coaching director. So, perfect pitch, perfect conditions, chilly night up here on Humberside, but it's the champions' visit, and it's always a big night when Wigan are in town at Hull. And this game, so important to both sides at the different end of the table, is now well and truly underway. Great drive out, net by Cassidy and Neil Cowie there, and that was Jez Cassidy with the run. This is Steve McNamara, Wigan's forwards, piling in early on.
Was it ever? You could see Neil Cowie going pretty high, hit the shoulder first.
Tim Street, Neil Cowie getting back in the defensive line. We know, of course, that referee Annesley will be very, very hot on making them stand back the full 10 metres, and he's got them back a good 10. Hull dropped the ball, but Hewitt picks up the pieces. He gets it away to Vicona. Vicona then finds Endicott. And Endicott, that's great tackling by Henry Paul and Jason Robinson. You see, they gave each other a low 5 after this.
Great defence there. You could see they kept the New Zealander up so they could get him over the touchline. Wonderful defence. Shane Endicott surprised there with the strength from the 2 small boys.
Wigan with the possession with Robinson. Robinson, of course, one of the players who did such a good job for Great Britain at Wembley last weekend. This is Henry Paul. Turns the ball, or tries to, back inside Paul Sterling. But the Hull winger was alert to that situation. Paul gets the ball off the floor to Andy Farrell.
Great play by the winger Paul Sterling there. Really got through to Henry Paul. He'll be a key figure for Wigan tonight. He's a classic player.
Betts has put McDermott through the gap. McDermott running strongly, tried to step inside the fullback, gets the ball away, and I think that try has been given. It has. It's Martin Hall. Martin Hall following up. The ball went to ground, but referee and touch judge, they conferred, courtesy of the microphone and earpiece, and try awarded.
Beautiful play by Wigan. It was Betts that gave the little short ball there. You could see Endicott was sucked right in. McDermott strides through. Look at the step as well. Upper body strength, got the ball away. How he did that. That was super play, but backed up well from Martin Hall. Long ball out wide. Look for the standoff coming towards Betts. There he is. He's sucked in. Two men went for him. McDermott went striding through the gap. And look at that step. But look at the strength. Gets the ball away. Touch and go whether the elbow hit the floor. All right, according to Graham Annesley. Great try, but what a start from Wigan.
Martin Hall, the hooker, former Oldham and Rochdale man. Impressive in his first 10 matches this season. He did well last season too. And with no Frano Pottinger in the Wigan side, the goal-kicking responsibilities left to 19-year-old Andrew Farrell, left-footed from in front, not a problem. And the champions off to a perfect start.
There you can see the two halfbacks, Endicott and Smirk, going for Betts. Look at the gap appear there. McDermott's strength. Steps on the gas, but look at that step off the right foot. But this is superb football. It even surprised the man following, Martin Hall. That is a great try.
Great start then for Wigan, the champions. And the Boulevard crowd trying to lift their players to strike back immediately as Mick Cassidy runs that out. Lee Richardson in there quickly, so too was McNamara. Very young side, this Hull team. Paul Sterling, the winger at 30, is the oldest man in the black and white hoops. And not the greatest start for them. It's exactly what they didn't want.
Yeah, they'll be panicking a little bit. That was the problem. We mentioned the fact that the new Kiwis coming into the club, it's going to take them a while to settle down. And you could see there was problems in defence between Endicott and Smirk going for the one man.
It's a lovely kick downfield though. Gary Nolan watching it, and he could do nothing to stop Martin Hall's kick, finding touch.
Isn't it really an unsung hero, Martin Hall? Surely can't be far away from represented his honours. Stepped into the hooking role. Dermott still injured, but what a fine job he's done.
Well, Richard Russell called in by Ellery Hanley to the Great Britain squad. I know, Steve-O, that you were championing Martin Hall's cause.
Well, he certainly wouldn't let the side down. I'm not saying that Russell isn't playing well, because he is. They're both talented players. Either one of them could wear the Great Britain jersey with distinction.
Terry Smirk throws a long ball out. It looked a touch forward, but the referee says play on. And Connolly with a wonderful tackle on Rob Danby.
It's a nice pass from Smirk. Danby went on the outside, but look at that cover from Connolly. Come here, snatched him way over the top. Didn't take any chance. It was a ball and all. The impact of the upper strength in the body taking him over the whitewash.
Sort of tackling like that has already linked Gary Connolly, who's in possession now with a stint with Malcolm Reilly's Newcastle Knights. And here's the flyer of fire, but he's collared. That was a good chase by the fullback Gary Nolan.
And it was the operative word. He grabbed hold of the collar. Wasn't high, didn't swing the arm. The fire really went flying.
On halfway Wigan with Murdoch. Gets the ball away to Twiggamala. Twiggamala straightening it up. Good tackle though on him from Dean Busby. It's Dennis Betts, captain for the night, gets away from Busby, and he brings Farrell on the inside. Little high one perhaps from Lee Richardson as he made the tackle. Referee says play on. Murdoch finds McDermott.
Farrell wasn't happy with that tackle from Lee Richardson either. After he played the ball, he went chasing. Had a few words to say to the Hull hooker.
It's the last tackle here for Wigan, and Henry Paul with a diagonal kick. Straight into the arms there of Nolan, the fullback, of Jez Cassidy, the loose forward.
They look a little shell-shocked, I'm afraid, Hull. Look a little bit confused. You see how the Wigan defence is moving up so quickly. They're forcing him into one-out football.
Second row of Busby. Met and greeted by Cowie. Good ball inside. This is Chico Jackson. Does well. Almost through, but it had to be a good tackle and was from Farrell. The ball now with Smirk, the man who recently has been making Hull tick, but his kick over the top is straight into the arms of a fire.
Well, the whole tactics obviously feel that kicking towards a fire is a far better option than kicking into Jason Robinson.
Connolly with this run. Gets away from Sterling first time, but Sterling doing well, sticking to his guns. Connolly with a quick play the ball.
Well, you've got to give Hull credit for energy. especially the winger there, Paul Sterling, is in and out of everything.
The referee has pinned Hull for offside. They were at least a yard in front of him when that ball was played.
Crowd don't like it, but he's plenty to choose from. Never in any doubt, especially from an Australian referee. They're pretty eagle-eyed on that particular rule.
Andy Farrell then with the goal-kicking responsibilities, the match-winning try against Hull in the Challenge Cup tie here last season, which just went Wigan's way, 22-21. They were so close to being knocked off the Wembley trail. Tonight they lead by 6 points to 0, coming up to 8 minutes on the watch, all wanting to get on with it. Finds Murdoch. Murdoch finds Andrew Farrell. Aitchison the dummy half. Murdoch again. This is Mick Cassidy driving Wigan into the danger zone inside the 20-metre mark. Murdoch now. Paul. Good ball to Twiggamala. Good tackling again by Paul Sterling. Doing well, the Hull winger. Nearly a mistake. Little flip over the top. The ball bounces and it bounced timely in the end for Hull. But my word, it's so nearly opened up there for Wigan.
Well, Hull just stood there watching it. Henry Paul and Jason Robinson. The ball bounced away from him. That was a try that went begging.
Well, we've said so often, haven't we, that rugby football bounces strangely at times, and no stranger than there.
Well, at first Paul had a crack at it, and then Robinson. They couldn't get close to it. But the one thing I'm very impressed with is the way that the Wigan tactics are allowing Craig Murdoch, not a great deal of experience in half-back. He's deputising for Shaun Edwards, but he is taking control already. How's that for confidence?
Here's Terry Smirk, his opposite number. Again, he looks to kick to this left-hand side for Wigan, but it's collected by Aitchison. And Aitchison wheeled in by Lee Richardson. Dennis Betts in there at dummy half. There's Murdoch, the man taking control. Scampering run, but the Wigan players, I think, being used as a shepherd.
No doubt about it. You see Robinson went through there to use Cowie. Graham Annesley not happy with it. Quick to play there, a bit of claret coming out of Robinson's nose. If Annesley sees that, I'm sure that he'll operate the blood bin. Stray boot, perhaps.
It's Terry Smirk who's going to have a shot at goal here from this penalty. Wigan caught by referee Graham Annesley. Robinson with the blood streaming from the nose. And he should be off really in the blood bin to have that injury stemmed. But as it is, it's going to be Terry Smirk. This is his longest run in first team football. His 10th match tonight, the former Hull Dockers amateur. And he's the man who makes this Hull side tick. Can he get the scoreboard ticking with this penalty? He most certainly can. That's a good kick. Good, positive strike from Terry Smirk. And was that a little victory roll?
Did he trip, or, as you say, was it a victory roll? Gee, what's he going to do when he scores a try? Did he trip?
I'm not sure. He disappeared out of the view of our lens for a moment and then bounced up. It looked like a victory roll to me.
So that's how I got my hairstyle.
Hull's first points then, courtesy of the boot of Smirk. They trail, though, by 2 points to 6. Vital that they make some ground against these Wigan forwards. And Jez Cassidy felt that, won the ball out 10 metres and then was clattered to the floor.
Did he ever? He's still in Disneyland at the moment. Shoulder of Cassidy going right in heavy. That's got to be a penalty, holding back.
Yeah, absolutely right. Must be trying to get on with it quickly. McDermott, the man picked out by Graham Annesley.
I'm not so sure. I think it would have been Faddle. It was Faddle in the background. Just before then, it was Faddle that just tweaked the ankle of Lee Richardson. Eagle eyes under these Australian referees.
Don't miss much. Sterling nowhere to go. The heavyweights move in. Cowie, McDermott and Farrell were there. Hall, Cassidy and Betts stopping that run from Timmy Street. That's Chico Jackson on the drive. Good tackling from Cassidy. Hull anxious to play the ball quickly. Street almost through the gap, but a good tackle by young Craig Murdoch. Touch judge is on though. Touch judge wants a word with Graham Annesley. The thing is, these touch judges can still come onto the field of play for foul play.
Well, I didn't see much in the background. Perhaps Tim Street just continued on after playing the ball. It was a nice little pass from Lee Richardson. Put the prop forward, Street through. And I think after Street made a little bit of a lunge forward, caught a little bit for his corner.
Well, they're in communication with each other, touch judge and referee. I saw nothing wrong with that. But the touch judge on this near side most certainly did. Electronic communication for incidents within the field of play, but as Brian Smith was telling us before the match, if they see any foul play on, they will come. And they obviously saw something there. So Terry Smirk again, having just a few moments ago kicked the first penalty for Hull, now with a chance to narrow the gap, and this would be a bit of a confidence booster. Hull's first win coming against Wakefield in their last game, so comparatively this season they enter this match on a bit of a high. Smirk with the kick, and doesn't he kick well, the little scrum half? Has seized his chance under new coach Tony Gordon, and has seized 2 more points there for Hull.
Confidence boosted indeed, Eddie.
Well, was this the incident?
No, Betts goes across. Yes, he went high, but I think he hit the shoulder. Touch judge didn't agree. Convinced the referee, Graham Annesley. Well, if that was the case, why wasn't a few words spoken to the second rower and skipper for tonight on the Wigan side?
Because Cassidy's seen plenty of the ball as Hull drive it out from their own line on kickoffs. Play the ball, and was Nolan able to play that ball properly? McNamara does well to keep the ball alive, and here's Smirk.
Good run as well. He's alive by it, isn't he?
That's a good run too from Richardson, the man who swapped the Robbins for the early birds, former Hull Kingston Rovers hooker. This is Timmy Street. He will run and run all day for you. Tackling from Farrell.
Good run there from Street. You could see he took the angle away around the back of the play, the ball. Confused the Wigan defence.
High kick from Smirk. Tester for Robinson, bounces back off Robinson. And that is going to be, though, Wigan's head and feet at the scrum, I think.
Yes, you can see Sterling get the ball and reef it back in the hope that he'd have support. Unfortunately, went in a touch. Replay will show quite clearly. Did well, though, didn't he, Sterling? Got well above Robinson.
Aitchison with the run. Good tackling that by Endicott, and also Jez Cassidy. Here's
that's got to be a penalty
from Tuigamala. Referee says play on. No penalty.
If he pulled the other one up, surely that should have been. Tuigamala obviously used his man. Referee Annesley believing perhaps that the defence was too far away, but it looked blatant to me.
Mick Cassidy slipping. Under pressure from McNamara. Murdoch. Betts. Hauled to the ground by Smirk and Street. And Dennis Betts not being allowed to regain his feet after the tackle was completed. Referee quick to penalise that offence.
Not happy with it, Smirk. Let's have a look at this Tuigamala situation. Connolly there, that is definitely a shepherd, there's no doubt about it. Rob Danby had no chance to get through to the big fella at all. Well, that was so blatant, even I saw it.
McDermott with this run. What a start to his Wigan career. This is Cassidy. Good tackling. And this is Andy Farrell.
Trying to get away with a neat short ball there. They thought that Farrell was going to run as the dummy. Delayed pass.
Henry Paul, Hull moving up quickly. They have to whenever Wigan are in possession. Paul has lost the number off the back of his jersey. Here he is again. It's the last tackle here for Wigan. Fires in a dummy half. Gets the ball away. Dabbed through by Martin Hall, but just a bit too much power behind it. A little bit of invention there from Martin Hall, but there's too much power in the end for the grubber kick through. But it's picked up a pace for Hull, no doubt about that. Those two penalties from this fellow, Terry Smirk, have lifted the spirits up here at the Boulevard.
As it ever, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. They've tightened their defence up. We saw in the first 5 or 6 minutes Wigan making 3 clean breaks. Hull are really on the boil.
They are indeed. Good time for us to talk to one of their injured players, Paul Eastwood, who's with Bill.
Paul, after a disastrous start, this is a terrific fight back by Hull.
Yeah, we've come back well after the try Wigan scored, and we've had the majority of the game up to now.
And you must have been worried when you saw Wigan score through Martin Hall early on.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it all week, and it was probably the last thing you know, we wanted to happen. But to all, you know, all the lads' credits, we come back and we've been the side pressing.
Was there belief in during the week in the build-up that you could do what you did to Wigan last season?
Most definitely, yeah. You know, we've always seemed to do well on our own park. When Wigan have come here, we've always seemed to do well. And you know, we've got to play Wigan at their own game, keep them in their 22, and put all the pressure back on them.
Wigan getting possession from that scrum, and rather fortunately for mine, it looked as though it was a knock on the other way, but referee Annesley reading it differently, and now the touch judge on the other side in, because he's seen something in back play.
Well, it was just a little pull of the leg, wasn't it, there? The penalty down the other end, so I suppose it's tit for tat. Keep it down, but I'm agreeing with you, Eddie, on that one. I'm sure that it was Jason Robinson that had the first knock on. A little bit unlucky for the Hull side. Well, both touch judges have now had their television appearance. Let's hope that they keep off now.
Cowie, faced by Jackson. Penalties are level pegging all square. Here's McDermott, gets the ball away, but Terry Smirk all over the man who received the ball, Craig Murdoch. Now Henry Paul and Dennis Betts, who slips.
You can see the difference in the Hull defence in the first 5 minutes than it is now.
The message has always gone out from Tony Gordon. It's a forward pass from Henry Paul to Dennis Betts.
Offside is given, deliberate offside. Now will he give a penalty? And he has. Now, that's an Australian rule that they use quite often down under. Very rarely do our merry whistleblowers give it, but he's deemed that the man was deliberately in front, and he's right. Take note.
So it's a good little spell, this, for Hull. We're midway through the first half, and Smirk gets the ball to Endicott, who found Jackson. Jackson with the run. It had to be a good tackle, and it was from Cowie. But Hull are stepping up the tempo as this match increases, and they're coming right back into it now. Jez Cassidy, good strong run, taking Wigan on in the danger zone. Richardson is the dummy half to Smirk, to Endicott. Smirk takes over again. Good long ball to Maya David, and Hull keeping the ball alive well. This is Sterling. Nowhere for Sterling to go. Strong Wigan defence on that occasion. David. Good ball, McNamara, men out wide. Cassidy! Jez Cassidy with the try! Hull hit the front. Rewarded, and quite rightly too. A tremendous passage of play from Hull, and they get the reward.
It's all about stretching the defence they had. They pushed Wigan into the corner. It's a beautiful dummy run, and look at this swing. The centre, Mia David, and McNamara serves up a beautiful pass out wide. The loose forward, Jez Cassidy, in for a super try. They used Tim Street as a dummy, but look at David. He throws the dummy, they hang off him. They too wait for him. Connolly was sucked in. It was enough to get the overlap, and that is a fine try. Keep your eye out as the runner David now, you see Connolly come to him. There he is, 2 men on one. That's how you get the overlap. There was nothing to stop this guy. That is a great try too.
Jez Cassidy tries in successive matches now. The one he got in the last game against Wakefield was his first ever try for Hull. He's now got 2. Jez Cassidy, so he has given the Boulevard crowd something to shout and sing about. And Terry Smirk with another attempt here, 2 from 2 so far. This by far the most difficult kick of the 3 for the left-footed kicker. Just measuring the distance. They've gone quiet for him, and it's just faded to the wrong side of the post. But Hull have the lead, 8-6.
You can see how the dummy from the New Zealand David brings in Connolly, and that's enough to send McNamara through the overlap. A fire at 2 on 1, there was nothing he could do. What a great try from Hull, and what a fight back. When it looked to point at one time that the gates were going to open, they fought back well.
Brave effort, and here he comes again, Jez Cassidy. Every time Wigan have kicked off, in my memory, it's arrived in the arms of Cassidy, and the 20-year-old has run it out bravely, but that's a mistake. Big mistake there from the fullback Nolan. Surrendered possession on the first tackle, and here's Henry Paul, and he is held up just 2 metres short of the line. Can Wigan make them pay for that ghastly error? Cowie, Cassidy, the man in on him.
Well, Wigan was stood still then. They've got to start pushing in young Craig Murdoch again, as they did in the first opening 10 minutes.
Farrell, strong run. Got through the first 1, but the next 3 were there to bring him down. Martin Hall, Murdoch. Here's McDermott again trying to step, but although he's got his back to the post, he still manages to make progress. It's the last tackle. Murdoch, the ball bounces kindly for Nolan, and Nolan in particular will breathe a sigh of relief.
Will he ever? It was a nice little kick there from young Murdoch. Oh, but that's great defence, but well done Hull. They help when you're there. Paul Sterling out. Looked like a rugby union mall at one time. You can do without that.
Yes, they hauled him back from the line, didn't they? Dean Busby trying to get away from Connolly and also from Farrell. Couldn't do. A lot of spirit being shown out there by Hull at the moment. 25 minutes gone, ahead by 8 points to 6. Drew with Warrington rather on day 1, 16 all, then 7 straight defeats, and Aitchison with a big blunder.
Well, you take the kick and the option downfield, and he lost it completely. Now, to be fair, the Boulevard floodlights are on the top of the stand. They are not high, and you lose the ball for a few seconds closer to your body. I'm not making excuses, but it is difficult for both sides.
There are the floodlights above the stand on the far side here at the Boulevard. Aitchison certainly misjudged the kick. The second Wigan handling error. Lovely run from Busby. He gets the ball away to David, who in turn finds Jackson. Jackson one-handed, keeps the ball alive. This is McNamara. McNamara round the corner, Sterling, and Sterling is in. Oh, this is a purple patch for Hull. McNamara, the ball playing forward, put that ball in perfectly for Sterling, and Paul Sterling accepted the chance.
It all came about from the mistake, and it was a beautiful run from Dean Busby. You could see that Wigan was short coming up on the blind side. And this run from McNamara, here he comes. Keep your eye on him. He runs, throws the dummy on the inside. Cowie stands off. That is a beautiful pass out wide. A good example of a winger staying close out. That's a mistake from Aitchison. And from this, they started to raid forward. And you can see how Busby steps his way through, and the gap appeared. David feeds it out wide. The second rower, Jacko, sends it out. Beautiful pass to Jackson. And there you see him go, McNamara. Superb pass, and look at him turn on the speed. Wigan were caught on the blind.
Well, Paul Sterling has certainly caught the eye. He's missed the first 5 of the season, but he's now played in the last 4. Former Bradford and Bingley rugby union star, but my word, didn't he know where the whitewash was there? And he held off Twigamala and crashed over for the try. So Hull, the early birds are flying. Silent crowd. But even with the silence, Terry Smirk has missed it. But 2 tries in 4 minutes for Hull. It's turned this game around.
There you can see Busby is running to the blind side. He's seen it, they're a bit slow. You can see the circle Connolly. A little bit slow moving through. And it's those vital seconds. He has to go for him. Commits himself there to the big man, David. Big fella in the centres, McNamara. You can see how the Wigan defence is all at sea. Sucked in Robinson, the rest is history. It had to be scored and he did it well. Twigamala couldn't stop him.
Straight down to Bill Arthur.
Well, Wigan have rung the changes in view of this amazing Hull comeback. They've pulled off prop Neil Cowie, and on has come for the first time this season in the first team, big Barry John Mather. He's been out for 3 months with a shoulder injury. He played an hour in the A-team last week, and now he's been thrown into what is a very, very tricky situation for Wigan.
Tricky situation for Wigan, but a dreadful mistake from the hero not long ago, Jez Cassidy. Dropping the ball behind his own try line, so it's a drop out from under the sticks for Hull. That's good length on that kick out, though. That's a tremendous kick.
Super kick from such a small man, Terry Smirk, one of the largest of fellas.
Confirmation of that change by Wigan. The scoreline, though, tells its own story at the moment. Mistake from Barry John Mather. First touch, one mistake. Sterling's off again. He's gonna, I was gonna say he's gonna beat Robinson to the corner, but somebody ankle tapped him, and credit the defence. They were so close to their 3rd try.
It was Craig Murdoch, the halfback. Desperation, little dive there with the right arm. Just clicked him. Well done. He knows he's saved the bacon, and that guy knows that he's just lost the chance of another 4 points. The first touch from Barry John Mather, picked up by Jackson. Well played again by David, and look at the guy go. This is desperation stuff. Just caught him with the fingertips.
Farrell with the drive, but there is now a lot more enthusiasm in this Hull tackling. There has been for the past 20 minutes or so. That's a good ball, though, and so is that to a fire. And a fire's off on a run, but good tackling from Nolan. Tremendous tackle from the Hull fullback.
Great positioning from Nolan there. He didn't commit himself too early. He allowed for a fire to go round the outside and took him out well.
Lovely play from Henry Paul. That was forward from Aitchison to Twigamala. Wigan aren't standing round to debate the point. This is Robinson through 2. Couldn't get through the 3rd and 4th. All down there. Murdoch and Paul. McDermott, it bounces off his chest, and Hull have the ball back in the shape of Rob Danby.
Well, I'm not so sure that's an advantage, is it?
Not at all.
A metre from your own line. The referee Annesley have allowed that. It was a definite knock on. There you see it. Well, play on the advantage.
They lost 10 metres, though, didn't they, at least? Barry McDermott, the man who made the error. McNamara, the captain of Hull, just 23 years old, Great Britain international, the only one on the Hull side with international experience. Been
impressed with the way that Hull have come back, especially the hooker. Lee Richardson runs from dummy half. And of course, Terry Smirk.
The pass from Dean Busby, though, was straight into the arms of Connolly. Hull could do without this.
Tried to force a pass. Just a little bit of panic setting in there. They'll be working on adrenaline with this Hull side. 12 points to 6. They'll be wanting to go in at half-time, I'm sure, with the same score or even more on their side.
Possession's levelled itself up, 50-50 first half. Murdoch brings Paul into it. Paul twisting as he takes the tackle. No support there. Martin Hall signals that a fire must get out of the dummy half situation. The ball has come free, and the referee and touch judge in communication via the microphone and headset. Terry Smirk penalised.
Little doubt about it. Steve McNamara pulled Paul down. Interesting to see Paul there. Lost his number. No number on the back of his shirt. Whoever ironed that on will get a little bit of a rollicking.
So it's a penalty to Wigan. Andy Farrell is going to take the shot at goal after Busby is patched up. It looks like he's got a problem with the knee, but I think that Gary Rose is going to be introduced for Dean Busby any moment, and indeed he is. Number 11, Busby to be withdrawn, and Gary Rose on his debut, signed from Leeds last week, coming back to the big league after a broken arm denied him an appearance at Wembley last season with Leeds. Busby limping off, and it's Andy Farrell with this penalty. Bit of a blow that for Hull, because Busby was running strongly. Kicks the penalty, reduces the arrears. Hull 12, Wigan 8.
Quite a good buy from Hull's point of view in mind. Gary Rose is a very talented player, rough and tough, doesn't take prisoners. Certainly make it a little bit harder down the middle for those Wigan forwards.
So 12-8, and Hull, just for the moment, not in any great hurry to get this match restarted from the kickoff. They fancy going in at half-time with an advantage over the champions, but they have a little more than 5.5 minutes to survive. Mather with the first run. Talking to him last week, he's very conscious that it's the confidence thing now as far as that shoulder is concerned. Major reconstruction and surgery during the summer.
It'll take him a while to get into the swing of things.
Here's Farrell. The marauding run again from Farrell. Good tackling though by Maya David on him. Murdoch and Paul. On halfway.
That was well read by his opposite there, Terry Smirk.
Big match for you on Sunday, by the way. Wales against Australia from Ninian Park, Cardiff. 7:30 we shall be with you on Sky. The game kicking off at 3. Let's hope for a full house, a big crowd at Ninian Park to welcome the boys home against the Aussies. And it's Sky's first glimpse of the Kangaroos on tour this year. Big match that, Steve-O.
Can't wait to see it Sunday, don't miss it. All the big stars, and Australia will be out to play with a few points to prove, I'm sure.
Here's Chico Jackson. Good strong run from him. He's played on the wing as well as Jackson, but second row against Wigan last season. They've coughed the football up again at Hull. They're contributing to their own downfall with mistakes.
That's a second bad mistake in possession in their own half. He knows it as well as a prop forward, Tim Street. He knows the pressure that it's going to apply to his teammates. There's the errors.
10 of them, 6-4 in Hull's favour, if that's the right word to use. Twiggamala saw a little gap, and Nolan was quick to close it down with Endicott. Murdoch to dummy half, and he finds Cassidy. Super sub Nick Cassidy, no doubt about that. Academy International, under-21 international, sub at Wembley, sub for Great Britain then, sub in Brisbane, sub in the Challenge Cup, sub in the Premiership final. Here's Barry John Mather, great tackle. Jez Cassidy downstairs, Gary Rose upstairs. Cassidy's been injured. Farrell dabs it forward, hits a Hull ankle, and Smirk picks it up before he is dumped by Martin Hall.
Good play by Smirk, who was a sweeper behind there, anticipating the kick. Well, quite happy now, I'm sure, to use their forwards. Just play up the time. Another good run there from the hooker, Lee Richardson. He's impressed me tonight. Looked pretty high, that one. Got away with it.
McNamara, that hit Barry John Mather in flight, so we're all on side here, and the centre by Cohen has hacked the ball forward. That's good covering though by Murdoch.
Was it ever? Murdoch came to the rescue once again. Remember, it was Murdoch that just clipped the ankles of Paul Sterling.
Dennis Betts. Wigan trailing on a ground that is not one of their happiest.
Well, he dropped that with Betts.
Must say the play the balls are appalling at the moment.
Well, they want to get on with it. Excitement, the adrenaline's going full belt.
But a lot of the time, Wigan do not play the ball properly. They're that anxious to... Look, the ball does not play with the foot again.
They've done it for years. Even you know that.
I'm only pointing it out.
You're correct. The big problem, though, for Wigan at the moment is that they're just quite content to play forward football. Young Murdoch is controlling things, and so is Henry Paul, but they're not getting the link out wide. I've not seen a clean pass go to Twiggamala or Connolly yet. That's what they've got to do and change in the second half if they want to win this game.
Strong run from Gary Rose, but he dropped it. He's another man coming back, as I say, after broken bones. You see the arm is heavily padded.
Well, that would test out Barry John Mather's shoulder there. Really went right in. Didn't hold back.
Murdoch is surrounded. Half a minute of this first half plus stoppages left for play. McDermott, who set the ball rolling for Wigan by creating Martin Hall's try. There's the scorer. Here's Henry Paul, and now Gary Connolly. Connolly just hanging on to the ball, not passing it, and flicking it back, but he was in touch. Good defence from Hull, forcing Connolly to move out wide.
Good defence there by David, come through. Standoff Endicott come along to help. There you see it. That was one of the few occasions that Connolly has had the ball out wide. He needs more possession. He's got the skills, and when you've got a man like Twiggamala in the centre as well, you've got to feed it to them.
Talking about Twiggamala in the centres, what about that tackle on Nolan then? Here's Gary Rose, Twiggamala again, surrounding the big forward. Sterling now.
That's got to be a penalty. McDermott had a knee on the chest, never allowed him.
I get the impression you're starting to lose your cool, Mr. Stevenson.
Me? Never.
Endicott dropped the ball but picked up the pieces. Connolly then picked him up. It's 6 to go here for Hull. We're a minute into stoppage time, and that is enough, say the timekeepers. A highly creditable and a highly entertaining first half. Paul Sterling with the try that gave Hull a 12-6 lead. And Jez Cassidy has had a really eventful first half. He too scored a try for Hull after Wigan got off to a flying start courtesy of Martin Hall in only the second minute. But it's 12-8 to Hull at half-time, and the men from the Boulevard are making a real fight of this, as indeed we expected them to. 12-8 Hull, another cracker on Sky. 12, Wigan 8. A great fight back by Hull after they went 6-0 down early on. Tremendous stuff. And the crowd here at the Boulevard really on their feet now and waiting for the second 40 minutes to come. A really good, entertaining opening half. That's my view. Let's see what
Brian Smith has to say, the former coach of Hull. Of course, he's back over here with the Australians on tour. Brian, you must be proud of, I was going to say your boys, but not your boys, really.
Oh, well, my allegiances are definitely there, Eddie. Don't worry about that. Yeah, they've done very well. I mean, it was a little bit like the Test match, actually, the first half of the Test match last week, where the favourites in Wigan or Australia last week had a real dominance early. In Australia's case, it was only field position. Wigan came up with that great try, wasn't that? A sensational ball by McDermott. Oh, great pass, and a very good catch from the hooker, Hall, as well. But somehow or other, Hull just managed to hang in there when maybe another try could have really had them down the gurgler. And I was very impressed with Terry Smirk. He's not a big hitter, he's only a little man, but his intelligence, and I think Steve-O made mention of it in the call, how he read a couple of situations very quickly and got in amongst the Wigan attackers. And of course, once they got a roll on, Steve McNamara's absolutely sent two gems of passes, beautiful over-the-top skill for the winger. And Wigan have looked just a little shaky on the edges. You know, international players galore on the fringes, but I thought Gary Connolly and Martin Offier were found out a little there with the skill of the Hull players. And then on the second try, the Dean Busby footwork. You know, Busby and McNamara are your traditional English-type forwards. They're not the big, bulky, more Australian-like players that Wigan have in their pack. They've got the good feet and the nice hands, and they were lovely passes. I really enjoyed the skills there. Wigan will buck up a bit in the second half. Graham West will have them by the ears in there at the moment.
There's no doubt about that.
It's a long way to go.
There is indeed. Let's take a look at some of the moments of the first half, the important moments too, and I think this is the little pass that so impressed us, Stephen.
Oh yeah, it was a beautiful pass from Betts. He just sucked in Shane Endicott straight through, but this pass from McDermott, look at that. Seconds before his arm hit the ground, according to the referee anyway, and it was a beautiful play.
Super glue too from Martin Hall. But
yeah, but they hit back. They pushed to the left, and they did a beautifully great play by David. He threw the dummy there. McNamara, nothing that a fire could do with that, and the way that Cassidy went for it, but that was brought about by a good run to the blind. They sucked it in. I'll tell you the problem with Wigan, they are not moving up on the blind side. We saw in a moment where Busby made the break. He wanted to go on the outside wide. He took a step and then came back. He could see that Wigan, they were not moving up on the blind side. It caught Connolly out really cold. Overlap once again.
This is the next try, and it was Paul Aitchison who made the big blunder, really, that led to it, wasn't it? I mean, it had snow on it, almost.
Well, he's playing well, isn't he, Terry Smith? I mean, they've got to give him credit for it, but as we mentioned, the lights here are a bit of a problem for anybody there. He lost it very late. But you see how Busby, he was going out wide, he came back on the inside, and you'll see just in the corner how Connolly gets sucked in through. Ball out wide, and away he goes. McNamara's pass was superb, round the man, committed Robinson to him, and this kid didn't set up. It had to be scored. Twigamala was coming across. Sterling is got plenty of speed, this kid,
and it was only that ankle tack from Craig Murdoch that prevented
game, and from an adverse situation as far as the competition table stands at the moment. They've really shown that they can do the business.
They have indeed. Now then, I think it's about time that we brought you the result of our crossword competition from the
Garrett's 11, and it's 50-50, level pegging. Martin Hall, who gave Wigan such a flying start to this match with his try in the second minute, but he has watched as Hull really have clawed their way back into this big league fixture. Tremendous display from Hull. They simply now have got to keep it going in the second half. Ahead by 12 points to 8. A real spirited display. And little Terry Smirk, the scrum half, he has been the man who has pushed and cajoled his team into taking the champions on. Champions of the Stones Bidder League for the past 5 years. Wigan up against it in this second half. And it's Hull who will restart. And they'll be hoping for a better start to this second half than they got in the first. Bill is with the Wigan assistant coach and substitute tonight, Joe Lydon.
Joe, what was said in that Wigan dressing room at half-time?
Well, Graham emphasised that intensity was the key, that this half we have to be really intense, settle on the ball, let's play 6 tackles out, good kick and chase, and put a bit of pressure on Hull.
Is that what was missing in the first 40? Just wasn't the usual intensity there?
That's right, we made a few mistakes, you know, we dropped a few balls, people were playing for themselves rather than as a team, and if we can correct that and stay with Hull and up the pace a little bit ourselves, then we're in with a shout.
You're obviously doing that straight away.
Well, yeah, the lads have started well, and that's what we were hoping for, you know, to get down in their territory and put some pressure on them.
It was a marauding run again from Barry McDermott, which has set Wigan loose on this attack in the opening minute of the first half. Here's Murdoch, who will hoist the high kick. Here's a tester. Who wants it? Who's the keener? Andy Farrell's the keener, and his little kick downfield into the corner, but well watched on that occasion by the centre Tavita Vaikona. Neat play from the play the ball by Nolan. Well watched by Henry Paul. Hull will believe, Steve-O, having matched the champions and slugged it out with them toe-to-toe in the first 40 minutes, but history beckons them here tonight.
Well, they can. They're playing with a lot of confidence, and I'm sure that their coach, Tony Gordon, would have drilled that into them, that just keep going on with that same confidence. They're playing good old-fashioned style where they're trying to drag the man to them close, and the short pass is putting the man through the half break.
McNamara could go nowhere then because Tuigamala was all over him. Terry Smirk with a high kick. It hangs, and underneath it is Robinson. Hull started the first half shakily. They can't afford a repeat, really. You don't get off the hook twice against Wigan.
No, they've had plenty of time to sort it out in the half-time break. You heard Joe Lydon saying that they've got to apply the pressure, play out all the 6.
Tallest man on the field, BJ Mather. Played in the A-team, that's the Wigan reserves against Hull. Had an hour, did enough to convince Graham West he's fully fit to resume hostilities in the big league. And here's Andy Farrell. Great run from him. Wembley hero last Saturday. He is hoping he'll be an Old Trafford hero next week. Cassidy, lovely play. Hall in support of Fire. Gets away from 1 and 2. Releases the ball. There, beats Paul Sterling to it. And another wayward pass. Wigan going backwards. Aitchison. Slack play from the champions.
2 bad passes. Really just shows you that they're not on song.
This kid is Barry McDermott. Swarming defence round the ball by Hull. Can they keep Wigan out? O'Fire with the left-footed dab into the air. Underneath it is Nolan. And Wigan, as they check.
give him 10 yards, and they didn't.
Well, he was claiming he ran. Arms of McNamara.
He's had a big game, hasn't he, Steve McNamara? Made his name in the back three, but now ploughing his trade in the front row.
Chico Jackson was looking for the runner on his inside. It was Endicott, but he just arrived too late. Gary Rose got away with that. Terry Smirk, though, was well covered by little Craig Murdoch.
Been a good battle, hasn't it, between those two, Craig Murdoch and Terry Smirk. They really have been at each other all night.
There's McNamara, drills the ball, aiming it for the touchline on that far side, just to gain a little bit more territory on that last tackle. Finds touch.
The experienced play there from McNamara. Knowing that a nice angle kick way through there, way out of the reach of the winger Martin Fire. Hoping perhaps for Wigan to make another mistake. There's been plenty on the Wigan side tonight.
Murdoch with the possession from the scrum, and he finds Aitchison. This is Aitchison's 35th game tonight for Wigan. Oh, that looked forward from Murdoch to Paul. Annesley says play on, and Paul was just ankle tagged by McNamara. Good job that he got there too. Here's Hall, now Betts, forward pass again to Mather, but he gets the ball away to Connolly. Connolly will drift the ball, angled in front of the post, and there's the mistake. Murdoch hacks it on, but good sweeping up round the back by the centre, Tavita Baikona. Good job he was there.
Good refereeing as well, Graham Annesley allowed Wigan the opportunity to get on there. He claimed that the ball did not go forward. It appeared to lose it there. Well, I've seen knock-ons given for that. With Endicott, there was a problem.
Endicott there who takes the tackle. Hull treading on thin ice at the moment, walking something of a tightrope here. Nolan, that's the last tackle. He's just 23 metres from his own line. The ball with Richardson, and he hacks it away. Underneath it at full speed is Aitchison, who will drive it back.
Not the best kick from the hooker Lee Richardson, but it was all brought about because the pressure was applied by Wigan.
Henry Paul, good tackle that from Maya David.
Was it ever? That's been a problem, I feel, with Wigan. I'm afraid that Henry Paul has been hogging the ball far too much. He's running across at the angles when I think it'd be better served to spinning out wide.
Cassidy straight, almost through Tim Street. The reinforcements arrived in the shape of Rose and Cassidy. Murdoch now, Paul, Dennis Betts. Terry Smirk stuck to Dennis Betts like glue. Farrell down the blind. Little dink over the top. Well watched by Endicott.
Pretty well, didn't he? He knew that the big fella was charging upon him. They're playing with a lot of confidence, Hull.
Endicott, one of 4 junior Kiwis on show tonight. Henry Paul on the Wigan side. Endicott, David and Baikona, all junior internationals from New Zealand.
Well, the crowd are going bananas. They're saying that there's too much interference at the play of the ball. There's flopping going on, and there is.
Tim Street tries to take on Twigamala. Twigamala standing up to the challenge well. Maya David, the dummy half. Terry Smirk trying to give himself room. The ball just eludes Twigamala's dive, and what a kick downfield it was too from Smirk. Robinson now will run it back.
He did well under pressure, didn't he? He got the left foot to it. Anticipating kicking on the right, and he just sidestepped away, gave himself space.
You look at this match, Steve-O, you wonder how on earth Hull are down at the bottom of the table, having won only one match so far. Connolly with the run.
Well, it took him a while to get into the swing of things. It's an inexperienced side. 3 new Kiwis blending in. It's going to take time. But they've shown tonight they've got the spirit. They've got the understanding.
Busby has returned for Gary Rose. Here's Aitchison. He gets away on that occasion from David, but not away from the next two. I've really been impressed with Sterling. Putting Hall under pressure there, but Hall, the hooker, managing to get his kick in downfield. Finds touch.
The hooker did well then. You could see that it was being applied pressure from Sterling then. Nice kick, he'll be happy with that. They realise that they're 2 points adrift. None better position than to be camped in your opposition's quarter, even though it's a whole head and feed.
Graham Annesley struggling to get the two front rows to lock horns correctly. And that was so nearly a chance for Nolan. They're playing the ball quickly though, Hull. Here's Cassidy, that was high. Henry Paul, and referee Annesley wants a word with Henry Paul.
Little doubt about it, the swinging arm, left arm right into the jaw of Cassidy.
And Henry Paul is let off the hook. Graham Annesley, the man who sent Sean Edwards off at Wembley last week, gives that particular Wigan player another opportunity. But Hull, they started this second half slowly as they started the first, and they picked up the pace again. Jackson, the ball was spilled.
Just trying to be a little bit too clever there, turning in the tackle when there was plenty of heavy traffic.
It wasn't Jackson who spilled it, it was Nolan, but here's Twiggamala. Twiggamala's got some pace down the line, hacks it forward, but it runs dead. Twiggamala taken out as he made that kick.
Beautiful run from Twiggamala, he's so strong. You can see that McNamara was committed just before the boot hit the ball. 50-50.
Cassidy is tackled by Barry McDermott. Barry McDermott, £40,000 from Oldham, plus £20,000 after 30 appearances. Oldham will know as well as anyone this is McDermott's 8th appearance in a Wigan jersey. Penalty 6-5, now it's 7-5.
Dragging the ball away. See it there. It's caught the hooker, Martin Hall, the left hand. Swinging round, deliberately striking. Here he comes. Just plunges it.
Touch judge shouted down his microphone at the end of his flag. Don't forget, we will take a look at this experiment of the touch judge in communication with the referee via the microphone on the end of the flag in Boots and All on Tuesday at 7. 7 o'clock for Boots and All. Hull in the danger zone. They're really testing Wigan here. Jackson keeping the legs pumping. That's a tremendous run. They're being roared on now by this Boulevard crowd. Richardson. Ball turned inside to no one in particular, and Tim Street had to apply the brakes, and then he sets Vicona away. Vicona clattered as he went down by Aitchison. Accidental. Richardson again. Endicott. The ball sticking to the fingers of Smirk. Smirk to David, and Wigan really are having to work overtime to keep this young Hull side out.
Surely they'll use a kick.
There it is from McNamara. It bounces, and luckily for Wigan, unfortunately for Hull, the man underneath it is Aitchison.
Oh, he did well there, Aitchison. That really did ricochet badly for him, and he just got a fraction inside the field of play.
Fire taking them on and beating two. He's only got Nolan to round. He gets round Nolan. This is going to be a sensational try from Fire, and sensational it is. From one end of the field to the other. He beat the cover from Endicott to reach the line, and Fire collected that on his own line, and within seconds registers try number 17 of another productive season. Wigan back in front.
Beautiful play by Wigan in the end, but it was a nice kick there, and look how Aitchison did well. He kept it in the field of play, good positioning by Graham Annesley, but he had to do it, he had to beat it, and he did beat the attempt from Vicona. The cover defence, Nolan couldn't get anywhere to him. He just stepped out of it. This is a Martin O'Fire special. He looks as though he's struggling somewhat to get to the line, but he knows he's far too much speed for Endicott. But that was scored well down within his own quarter when he beat two men with speed.
Tremendous try from Martin Offiah. 4 times a winner now against Australia. Keep your fingers crossed. It'll be 5 times a winner come 4:30 next Saturday. Martin Offiah, 17 tries already this season. As Steve-O called it, a Martin Offiah special. And Andy Farrell, 3 from 3. Hits the post. Only inches from 4 from 4, but Wigan now take a 2-point lead.
That miss could prove vital, but look at the speed of Offiah there. I'm afraid Hull were caught with having no wingmen out there wide. Remember, they were on the attack. Often the wingmen go inside looking for the work to score. The kick was picked up by Aitchison, and this man, after a quick play of the ball, showed his skill and power. He looks to be struggling there. Great try, though.
Martin Offiah tries in 6 successive matches now for Wigan. And that had the Martin Offiah hallmark stamped all over it. But Hull are not going to throw the towel in here. There's been too much effort for that, and they're only 2 points adrift. They're playing very, very well.
Well, there'll be plenty of fire in them, don't worry. But full credit to Wigan. They always try to squeeze something out of nothing, don't they? They realise that when they attack deep within their own quarter, that often the opposition's defence is a little bit lax.
McDermott with the run. This fixture last season produced 3 close encounters. Hull lost 8-16 at Central Park, won 18-4 here at the Boulevard, and they had Wigan 21-2 down in the Challenge Cup at one stage before losing 22-21. Little Craig Murdoch there with a beautiful kick.
Superb kick from the youngster there. Well, he's played his part. 2 try-saving tackles from Murdoch. Nice big kick. That relieves the pressure. The forwards do enjoy watching that. What better than carting the ball downfield through your forward pack? It's an important time now for Hull. This is where they've got to test their mettle. They've been in control of this game. Now they find themselves 2 points adrift.
2 points adrift courtesy of Martin Offiah, and our studio guest tonight, Brian Smith, knows all about Martin Offiah. Of course, he had him at St George a couple of seasons ago. Did the stuff in Australia too, but Hull not doing the stuff here. They've tossed the ball up to Twigamala.
Just a little bit too fancy there from the centre, David. That is a problem for Hull. They cannot panic. There's still plenty of time. Patience has to be their virtue now.
Larry John Mather, BJ as he prefers to be known, if you're listening and watching Boots and All on Tuesday. Long ball from Murdoch to Paul. This is Twigamala. Danger here for Hull. Good tackling back by Jez Cassidy. He has to be careful. Just held on to him long enough. Henry Paul.
He was lucky to get away with that, Jez Cassidy. He was all over Twigamala.
Pace of this match has been unrelenting. I wonder if it's beginning to tell as Dennis Bett stabs one through. And that's another for Offiah. Oh, that is Martin Offiah at full stretch and at speed. 2 for Martin Offiah. His second try. And Hull just beginning to buckle.
A set play on the blind side. Betsy realises that they're coming up very quickly. The little kick through there. When you've got the speed of Martin Offiah, you've got to take those chances. Bet shouts for it. Give it to me now. Make sure that the man comes away. You can see how quick off the mark that man is. That's why they paid big money for him. This is the reason why the speed can kill any side. Wait your chances. and take them. That's what it's all about. Well played by Betts. It was a superb kick, wasn't it? Poor Rob Danby just got caught enough there. The split second was enough. 4 point to that man.
2 in 5 minutes from a fire. He's failed to score in just 2 of Wigan games so far. Farrell, he hit the post last time, and he's pushed it wide of the post this time. Damage limitation for Hull, but the gap 6 points.
Knee kick through, you can see Danby circle there, and I'm afraid there's nothing. He has to turn around. That split second is enough for that man.
He's like lightning.
Martin Afire in fine form. We've got more changes being made. Let's hear about them all from Bill.
Well, Tim Street and Terry Smirk have been pulled off by Hull coach Tony Gordon. On have come young Mark Hewitt, who's only 20 years old. And for his second stint of the night, 15, Gary Rose, the ex-Keighley, Featherstone and Leeds forward. And they're looking for a big impact from Gary Rose now before this game really does slip from Hull's grasp. It's not out of sight yet, and if they can claw their way back into it, all hope's not yet lost. And Gary Rose is just the sort of character to lead that sort of fight back.
There he is, underneath Jez Cassidy. Gary Rose leading by example, making the tackle on Betts. Double change then by Hull, just trying to stem this tide as Wigan pick it up a gear or two. And Wigan have made a change too. Barry McDermott's run strongly, and Cowie has returned.
Wigan quite happy now, Eddie, because they've taken the lead at 18-12. They'll play the percentage game. They'll play out the full 6, elect for the kick-in, and that's a penalty. Henry Paul, I was wondering when the referee was going to lose patience. You can see Henry Paul right over the top. Murdoch had released him. He'd done the right thing. The Kiwi there, giving away a silly penalty. Lost valuable yardage there for Wigan.
Ironic cheers from the Boulevard faithful. Oh, he had to tap that ball back inside, did Chico Jackson.
He knew he was on his way when you got the big legs of Twigger Mahler. Robinson didn't have to help him. Twigger Mahler had him really set up for the line.
Good job, there was support there. Hull retaining possession. Gary Rose picking himself up. Here's McNamara. That's a good ball. That's a good run too. Second rower, Dean Busby. 10 metres inside the Wigan half. Richardson the dummy half. Here's Mark Hewitt. Endicott. McNamara. He really has been busy, the Hull captain. Has led by example. Good tackling by Henry Paul.
Well, it's McNamara that's just doing that little half break and dragging the man to him. Short pass. We've done plenty of those tonight. Basic football, but that's all you need to make the break.
High kick from Hewitt. The try goes out from the terraces to chase it, and chase it they did. Robinson was brave.
He had to be as well. Maia David was really charging upon him.
And he certainly felt that. Jason Robinson, he's not got up, and the ball has been moved away, so as play will continue.
He was brave, was Robinson, that there's little doubt. He knew the traffic was coming. Oh, that's ribs territory. Shoulder in the ribs just as you receive the football. Nothing illegal about it at all. Cowie's having a little bit of a punch up in the back play
with Steve McNamara.
There were threats, the tongues were wagging. Luckily the fist didn't move. It's getting warm.
Robinson is injured, and from a Great Britain point of view, let's hope that that's not too serious.
Let's hope it's just winded. It really was a big impact, wasn't it? On the big centre, Maia David.
Hewitt with the run. It's Wigan's half so far in terms of possession and in terms of the scoreboard. Good tackling by Cowie on Busby. Richardson the dummy half. Hewitt the substitute.
They've made inroads, haven't they, Hull, from close quarters, and that play the ball. Richardson a little dummy. McNamara close.
Final quarter, Hull Little dink over the top by Mayor David, and Gary Connolly the man this time.
Well, if this carries on, Mayor David will put half the Great Britain side out.
Hull have scored 38% of their tries in the final quarter. Wigan have conceded 36% of theirs. So anything can happen here. With a quarter of an hour to go, and Hull are getting really stuck into this Wigan side. The gap just 6 points. They know that there are chances for them out here.
The crowd are going bananas here.
Henry Paul keeps the ball alive to Martin Hall, who tries to do likewise to a fire. The ball went backwards. It's play on. It's the last tackle, and it is a rib injury for Jason Robinson. The extent we're not sure, but ribs is the diagnosis. And he's not off the field, but I bet Gary Nolan wishes he was.
Well, about losing the ball in the lights, it happens so often, doesn't it? Nolan realises it happened to Paul Aitchison in the first half. There's Robinson looking a little bit groggy.
Yeah, Nolan being caught out by the lights and the high kick for the second time in the match. Referees laying down the law between Cowie and McNamara, because that debate has been raging for a wee while. Hull well ahead in the handling error department. Not good for their coach Tony Gordon. Ooh, was better use of the elbow by Nolan on Henry Paul. Here's Cowie. He suddenly looks all pumped up for this, doesn't he? Just pops the ball out. Sterling's after it and gets a toe to it. And well done, Robinson. In some pain with the ribs. Tackle not completed. Play on, says the referee.
Not a bad run from a guy who was gasping for breath just a few seconds earlier. Well, if that's not a completed tackle, what is? A man's body was over the top of him.
Betts with a strong run. Robinson blowing hard. Cassidy, straight. Good run from Cassidy. Tries to step inside Nolan. O'Fire was there in support. Cassidy held on.
Just never gives in, does he? Cassidy, what a great player.
Hall, short pass. Bounces off the chest. Hull pick up.
Good refereeing by Annesley there. It was a forward pass. He allowed it to go on because he thought Hull would get the advantage.
Vicona just couldn't get away.
They're still in with this. They're probing from the dummy half area, very close to the ruck.
Busby, Cowie all over him, and still all over him.
He was being held down though by Busby. He tried to kid the referee, did the second row from Hull. Annesley wasn't having any of it.
Gary Rose, introduced to this match just to give a bit more weight to the Hull pack. Lovely ball from McNamara again. Jackson releases the pass. Hewitt picks up the pieces. Endicott long ball out wide. Here's Vicona once more. Up to the halfway line with Connolly. Keeps the ball alive well. Here's Gary Rose. Rose drops it. Went backwards, says referee. Play on. Last tackle for Hull eventually. McNamara, no one's tried harder than him. Dabs it forward, inviting Danby for a run. It won't run out, it will.
He looked as if it was two minds there, Gary Connolly. Beautiful kick from McNamara. Connolly thought, oh, is that going to stay in? Oh, glad it went out, he says to himself. What a game that kid's had tonight. Led by example, driving on his charges.
Yes, he was in Ellery Hanley's initial squad, but he didn't make it to Wembley. It's Steve McNamara, but he's given the British coach a big nudge here tonight. Wales-Australia on Sunday, don't forget, from Ninian Park, and all the highlights from the other matches in the Stones Bidder Championship First Division. What a service on Sunday. Wales-Australia, and then every try from every match in the First Division. Cassidy with this run.
Wigan just grinding away. They know that in the driving seat. They'll pump it away and use the kick on the last.
Betts, strong run, bounced off Rose. Support there from Hall. Referee was in the way. Sterling's picked up. he had a fire hunting him down.
Oh, that would have been a controversial one if Sterling had got away for a try.
Hewitt with the run. Hull are really taking this match to Wigan in the last 10 minutes now. Richardson keeps it alive again to Hewitt. You've got to credit them with a lot of courage and commitment, this young Hull side. They're taking the champions to the brink, and who knows, they might yet push them over.
Things will certainly look up for them after this. This has been a creditable performance.
Nolan the dummy half. Rose will run it straight and true. Cassidy stands there like the immovable rock. Hewitt. That's a great kick. Aitchison's there, so too a fire. And a fire, the try-scorer, becomes a fire, the try-saver.
It had to be as well. Rob Danby was really racing through. It's a beautiful little kick through there from Mark Hewitt. He's a talented kid. I've seen him play in the academy several times. Try-scorer 1 minute. Martin of fire, try-saver now.
Farrell with the big drop out into the Hull half of the field. Back will come Paul Sterling once again. Gets away from Mather, gets away from Murdoch, but won't get away from Betts.
This is going to the wire. Hold on to your hats.
Rose. Wigan know they have been in a battle royal tonight. Richardson. Rose. Long ball into the arms of Vicona. Vicona keeps those legs pumping and he cracks Hull into the 20-metre zone. What would Hull give for a try here? Endicott. They make no progress. That's still the 20-metre mark, and this is the last tackle. David. They're running it. Quick hands. Sterling keeps it alive. Jackson. He keeps it alive, but straight into the arms of Paul, and Wigan will counter-attack with Farrell.
Oh, great play from both sides. Full credit to Hull. He elected not to use the kick, kept the ball alive, nearly got away with it. But Wigan's defence held out, scrambling all the time.
Hull now, for their own sake, must keep Wigan in their own half of the field. Betts, that run takes Wigan to within 5 metres of the halfway line.
Great play by the forwards there. They've taken it right up the field. Super play by the Wigan forwards. Betts took it on the blind side, then Cowie.
Here's another tester for Nolan. Well, my heart, Mr. Beat, I'm sure his must have done too. He gets the ball away, though. Look at this run from Danby. Cut down he was by Cowie. It's a great contest again, this. Endicott. Good tackling by Cassidy. Sterling, bravely from dummy half on his own. Through three. Can he get through the next two? Aitchison brings him down.
Well, it just appeared to be ambling, and then he just turned on the speed and broke through.
Hewitt to Endicott to Rose. They're piling forward, Hull, and it's Dennis Betts who's the man who holds him down. 12 metres from the line. Hewitt, Endicott. Richardson changes the direction of the attack. Hewitt again, right in front of the Wigan post. It's last tackle. Little dab forward, a fire is tackled behind his own line. It'll be a drop out under the sticks.
Good thinking from Gary Nolan, and there you could see Martin of Fire get to it. Well played by Martin of Fire. Caught one for his corner, I believe. Looked as though the right arm was coming in from McNamara. Forwards love nothing better than tackling wingmen.
Joe Lydon, the assistant coach at Central Park, comes on to steady this ship. Joe Lydon replacing Twigamala. Lydon on for the last 5.5 minutes.
And they brought him on not just to steady the ship, but to make sure that the kicking game's in order. Increases the option for Wigan. Farrell, a big kicker, of course. They don't have Edwards out there tonight. He's suspended. So good thinking from their coach Graham West to bring out Joe Lydon.
Richardson to Gary Rose once more. And it's continued now by Jez Cassidy, who takes Murdoch on. And his namesake Mick Cassidy piles in over the top with a bit of help from Henry Paul. We're in the last 5, and Hull are not out of this, not by any means. Rose driving the ball in. 50-50, as it was first half. Terrific display from Hull. Gutsy performance from Wigan. Big mistake from Vicona.
Oh, he wants the ground to swallow up there. The inside pass from McNamara. He took his eyes off the football.
Henry Paul's off on a run, turns inside Nolan. Still going. O'Fire is there. Twisting, turning. They can't lay a hand on Paul. And they've gone from one end of the field to the other again.
He did the right thing, though, did Henry Paul. He knows that possession is vital. He knows that they are in the driving seat. They are leading by those 6 points.
And Hull have made far too many handling errors. Wigan again so disciplined. 12-6. Here's Connolly. Wigan in the 20-metre mark and in possession with Cassidy driving towards the posts. Of course, a one-pointer would do. It's back with Lydon, the specialist, and 1 point it is.
That's what I call using the brains. That's what coaches are paid for, to bring on the man that you know is called cool. Joe Lydon was cool as a cucumber. He could throw in all the salad in the world with it, but that is a vital 1 point.
Just stretches the advantage, that vital 7 points. He's only been on the field a matter of minutes, Lydon. As you said, he was brought on not only to shore up the Wigan side, but also to give them another option. And that option appears in the shape of a 1-point drop goal.
Not only that, you could see the heads go down as the ball went sailing over the post. It's been a tremendous effort, though.
Here's Mather. Mather fancies one on his return to the big league, but Nolan denies him with the tackle. Mather struggling to his feet. Murdoch, Lydon tries to dab it through. They're still not finished. Lydon got a hand to that. 6 to go, says referee Graham Annesley.
Desperation stakes now for Hull. They've just got to throw everything at them. Throw caution to the wind. But what an effort. You would have thought that a draw would have been, well, shall we say, a good result for both sides. It's been a tremendous effort from both of them.
Tim Street there in possessions come on for Jez Cassidy. Inside the last 2 minutes. Suddenly, a little bit of the steam has gone out of this Hull side.
Well, a lot of fans, especially even Wigan fans, they often complain about Martin Offiah, say that he doesn't get involved in the game all that much. We'll take Martin Offiah out of this game tonight, and Wigan would have lost.
Yes, he's a match winner, there's no doubt. That's why they pay him the big money. There he is in at dummy half. He's tapping Gary Connolly. He's taking his time, but I think he did take a bang. Aitchison loses it. Chance for Hull, who lose it.
I'm not so sure he lost it either, but the referee was on the blind side. I don't think he saw it. There's plenty of hands going in there. Look at that. A bit of interference in my book. It was on the blind side. The referee, Graham Annesley, will play the 2 knock-ons, Hull head and feet. They deserve to finish with a flourish, don't they, Hull?
They do. Endicott with the run, slips the net of Aitchison, but can't get away from Henry Paul. That's Maya David. This Wigan defence standing firm. Half a minute plus stoppages. Hewitt, Endicott. Hewitt again. Wrapped up by Betts. McNamara. Here's Street. Street going and straightening up for the line. Richardson, back to Hewitt. Endicott. There's Maya David. And Joe Lydon all round him.
Good play by Joe Lydon. You could see the experience. He went in to cut that pass off. David had nowhere to go there. That'll be back to 6.
Yeah, Lydon went for the interception there. So close to it. Gary Rose picks himself up, plays it to Dean Busby. Strong defence from Wigan.
Led by that man, Mick Cassidy. Geez, had a big game in defence.
Hewitt. Did Wigan take the dummy? They did! And Tim Street's over! Is he? No! Just held back. How on earth did Wigan keep him out? Well, tremendous defence. That's how he kept them out. The full-time siren's gone. It's a penalty, though, to Hull. The clock is still ticking away because the full-time siren's gone, but it went after that penalty was awarded. So it's play on. Last hurrah for Hull. Underneath it, Lydon. And we're waiting now for the last tackle. And there it is. Full-time. A terrific display by Hull. The winners, though, the champions, Dennis Betts has bounced back, hasn't he, with some tremendous displays this season. Wembley on Saturday and here tonight. And Martin Afire, in the end, the difference between the two sides with his tries. But talking of trying, how hard did Steve McNamara try? But it's Martin Afire, a length of the field effort and a Predators try in the corner. 8 points, and at the end of the day, that's the difference.
Is the day.
Terrific match here at the Boulevard, and Wigan have won it by 19 points to 12. 5,500 or thereabouts here to see it, and at the end of the day it's that Joe Lydon drop goal that really just settled the Wigan nerves and ended Hull's brave resistance. Let's hear from the Wigan assistant coach now. He's talking with Bill.
Joe, was it the intention for you to come on and kick a drop goal?
Yeah, Graham got the message out to the bench. Not necessarily for me to do it, but it just happened to be in the right position. But that intensity we talked about, that's what won us the second half and eventually the game.
But that particular drop goal is just like something out of American football, wasn't it? Drive the ball up the field and pop the drop goal over.
Yeah, the lads have practiced it. You know, they know the field position to get. That's right between the posts. They did that, a lovely ball from Craig Murdoch, and it was easy from there.
It says something for Hull's performance that you needed to resort to that sort of device right at the end to really seal it.
That's right. We knew it was going to be hard like that up here. It always is. You know, we've come to the Boulevard, you expect a tough game. And if we win by 1 point or 2 points, it doesn't matter. But it was a very hard game, and one we're pleased to have 2 points.
Well, the assistant coach comes on, kicks the deciding drop goal and gets a bloody nose to boot. So you earn your crust, don't you?
Oh, you do. But I mean, I was only on 10 minutes. It's the rest of the lads that earned it tonight. Thanks.
The statistics behind this 10th victory in the big league in a row for Wigan. Team tackling just about squared up between the two sides. 15 scrums, 9 of them in Wigan's favour. Penalties 9-5 from the Australian referee Graham Annesley. Handling errors, perhaps that's the key to where Hull lost it, 12-8. 50-50 first half, and Hull having the better of possession in the second half, but it was Wigan's second 40 minutes, wasn't it? They came up with the 2 points. Right, Steve McNamara now is with Bill.
Steve, you come within 6 points of beating Bradford Northern, you come within 7 points of beating Wigan, and yet you're second from bottom. It must be a sickener.
Yeah, you know, it's just the run of the ball went against us, I think, a little bit today, and, you know, Martin Afire special. You know, I think we certainly deserved the point today, if not the 2. But, you know, that's the way it goes. We're just not having the run of the ball at the minute, but, you know, hopefully we'll turn things round.
You can do this against Wigan, and yet, you know, you come unstuck against the other strugglers.
Yeah, it's been a problem for the last few seasons now. We've been very inconsistent, especially in away games. You know, we're trying to address the problem. Hopefully we've gone a long way to doing it today, but we're bitterly disappointed, I say, not to even get a point.
It was a mighty effort, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the lads dug in, and I mean, if you'd have looked at the two sides on paper, then you know you wouldn't give us a chance before the game started. But you know, got a lot of spirit in the side now. You know, we've shown that tonight, and we've got to kick on from here now.
You think you've given Ellery a nudge as well?
Oh well, you know, I don't think he's going to change much of the side, you know, after the first test at Wembley, because, you know, obviously the result spoke for itself. But you know, you've got to try and keep playing well, keep yourself in the picture. There's always a chance of injuries or the third test, so, you know, I'm just glad that, you know, I've come through the game and you know, quite enjoyed it.
Thanks very much, Steve. Well, Man of the Match award for Hull went to Paul Sterling, but it must be little comfort really after a defeat like that.
Very much so. Very much so. I mean, it's tap made the difference. Just tap on the ankle.
Well, that's it. I mean, you could have been 18-6 up, I think, or 16-6 up.
Very much so. And as I say, I thought I was in the clear, and obviously just managed to touch my ankle, and well, it's just one of them things. And hopefully it's something to build on. I was very pleased with my own personal performance, but I was also pleased with the performance of the team.
That's the thing now, isn't it? Rather than look on this as a disappointing defeat, you've really got to take something positive from this.
Absolutely, it's a building block. We played well for most of the game. We made one or two errors that if we cut down, that'll be the difference between us hopefully making a top 8 place, because I still believe that we have the seeds to do that. Like I said, we didn't have the run of the ball tonight, but we're going to make his own look, and we're going to come back again next week. Okay, thanks.
Now then, don't forget that crossword competition to win the Rugby League match ball. You have to fill in the missing answer in our crossword that's been running tonight. And in case you missed it, the prize is an official Rugby League match ball. The answers should come to Big League crossword competition, Sky Sports, P.O. Box 6, Isleworth, Middlesex, TW7 5QQ. That's our crossword competition. If you missed it, here's the question. Man of the match in the classic Wigan against Hull Wembley final of 1985 was... I nearly told you. You can send your entries into us, get them in as quickly as possible. We'll have the draw in the studio next Friday during Salford against Wakefield, and Wally Lewis will be our guest in the studio then. Wally Lewis with us next week. Brian Smith with us this week, the former Hull coach. And Brian, we said it at half-time, a truly creditable performance from these boys.
Well, in terms of effort and enthusiasm, Eddie, I thought it was one that, as Steve McNamara suggested there, was that perhaps they could have got a point, and as Paul Sterling suggested, it was just that touch on the foot in the first half. But just to prove how much a game of inches this can be on occasions, you might remember that just before the Martin Offia special for the length of the field, was that Atchison pulled that ball down from McNamara's kick, and again he was in the field of play by just a couple of inches. Now, if that had been inside the in goal and they'd had to drop out, maybe we'd not have seen it. But I think Hull will be disappointed with the number of missed tackles they came up with in the second half. I thought Wigan were a little bit shaky in that department on occasions as well. But maybe the real class of that one player in Martin Offia to be able to cart the ball from his own goal line and score a length of the field. I mean, they're blessed with so much talent. You know, this week it was Offia's chance or his turn to do it, and maybe next week it'll be Robinson on the other flank. They've got so many, but you know, it is a special sight to be able to see a man stand up and run like that in possession. You know, it's not just his raw pace. He has tremendous anticipation, but he's also got a great awareness of where his body parts are. When players come at him, as you saw there, you know, the difference was when Sterling was ankle tapped. He didn't seem to have that awareness of that someone was near him, and yet Offia can get into a similar type of position, and he'll move his backside around or get his legs out in front of him, just so they miss those things. And that's a sign of a real class player and a really special player.
Yeah, it is special, and I know you won't hope, but we hope he does that at Wembley next Saturday. Steve-O, I think Brian and Steve McNamara have summed it up. Inches. That was all it was between Hull and a victory, perhaps.
Well, yeah, we keep saying it, don't we, that this Wigan side, when they get the opportunity, they take their chances, and that's why they paid the big money out for Martin Offia. He may not do a lot of things. He's a little bit like Georgie Best was in soccer, but when you need it, they need it, and they've got the stars. That's why they have so many, in as much that if one is off form, you'll always guarantee that another one will come on. They were a bit shaky. I think it was a little bit similar to what Brian was saying about the Wembley first test. It was a little bit like that everyone thought that Australia were invincible. Well, I'm afraid this season everybody thinks Wigan is invincible. We've been saying that, but if you get your defence right and you get their effort right, then you can defeat them. but I'm afraid you've got to do it for the 80 minutes. I keep saying it, I know it, but they always seem to pull it out. And if you can do it for 80 minutes, then you will beat Wigan. But you can't do it just for 79.
We've given a lot of credit, and rightly so, to Martin Offiah, but that ankle tap from Craig Murdoch in the first half on Paul Sterling that he mentioned in the interview, that also so important.
And let's not forget he did the other one on the other winger, Danby, as well. Danby was well and truly in the clear, and he came across and clattered the wingman. So the young kid really has saved the Wigan bacon, especially in that first half.
Well, they march on at the top. They're now 4 points clear of Bradford Northern. Next on the big league, it's Wales against Australia, plus the highlights of all the First Division games on Sunday night at 7:30. International Rugby League on Sky. Next Friday, Salford against Wakefield, live and exclusive from the Willows. 7 o'clock, our guest will be Wally Lewis. And on Tuesday, in Boots and All, we will look again at this business of the touch judges in touch with the referee via a microphone. Tomorrow, the Rugby Union live on Sky Sports 2 is Leicester against Sale. So, hope you'll join the boys on Sky Sports 2 for that. And the sport just keeps on coming at you on Sky, doesn't it? Super Sunday, exclusively live at 3. It's Wimbledon against Norwich. Don't forget our match, Wales against Australia. We'll be there with that at 7:30 on Sunday evening. Thanks to the boys. Great to see you, Brian.
Great to be here.
Safe home. Hope you go home with your tail between your legs. And we shall see you again, of course, Sunday, 7:30 at Ninian Park. Bye-bye.